Public interest design is at an exciting time in its evolution. We need fresh talent to expand this field and accelerate its impact. The Enterprise Rose Fellowship provides a springboard to an architectural career path. Rose Fellows gain the skills, resources, and network necessary to lead the future of public interest design.
I think the most important part of the fellowship is that you're this conduit. You have this ability to communicate to different parties, be it a resident, a community member, or a partnering organization.
The fellowship gave us an opportunity not only to bring our design skills to the table, but also to see what happens behind the curtain when you're doing a development.
Design thinking is more than just materials and aesthetics for building. It's critical that we think about how we approach our projects holistically.
I've grown most professionally and personally in being able to work on these longer term projects and exhibit my commitment to the work and the neighborhoods. That's really made a huge difference.
There is a magic in fellowships. They attract ambitious people who follow their passions and seek alternatives that don't yet exist.
For us, it wasn't just about having someone work on a project. It was about moving our organization into the next step, because a Rose Fellow constantly thinks about all aspects.
The Rose Fellowship provides the time and context to develop new skills and room to explore new ideas. Through on-the-ground experience, the Fellows build confidence and develop as leaders.
I've been working on the Central Corridor, working on the new LRT line, which is really a transect of a great American city. The success of the Central Corridor will really set the pace for other transit-oriented development in the city. The Little Mekong Plaza is the idea of a cultural node helping to densify the neighborhood. We've started out by setting a community vision through infrastructure and open space, and then being flexible for development as it comes along. Part of the goal is to shift the use from an auto-oriented use to support active lifestyles and passive recreation and cultural exchange.
Night markets are sort of a tradition for many folks who come from Southeast Asia, so it fits with what we're trying to do here, using arts, culture, and working with small businesses to create an event that celebrates the community by bringing people together and help small businesses grow in this area.
With design, you've got the opportunities for new development, placemaking, green development, all sorts of contributing factors to what makes a really livable city.
So the guiding questions for my fellowship were, how is senior housing different from other types of affordable housing? And how can senior housing be a key part of public health?
What I think is most exciting in this work is the nexus between public health and design and home. Figuring out how you serve people through design in a very holistic way.
The community spaces at Wright House are clustered at the front, so we can have a flexible, welcoming space that invites people to linger and communicate with their neighbors and be social. The decisions you make with design have a dramatic impact on their ability to age in place successfully. The fellowship has been a life-changing event for me. You have to work hard at things, and you have to compromise, and you have to keep your eye on the big prize. But how we got here was a series of very small incremental steps.
The Yakima Valley is on the eastern side of the Cascade Mountains in Washington State. It's the dry side of Washington. It's also an agricultural valley. We grow all kinds of produce. Seasonal housing is often neglected when we look at what's being provided to farm workers. Brender Creek is a seasonal farm worker housing development, so the site will be occupied during the spring, summer, and fall, and then we'll close it down during the winter months. So it's really a hybrid version, somewhere in the middle between a more transient setup like a hotel and a more permanent setup like an apartment. Prosser Family Housing is a year-round housing development specifically for farm worker families.
Nate led a charrette process that included local community members and city representatives and our development team, And it was very successful in engaging people early in the process, and it provided us the opportunity to communicate in kind of a non-threatening, collaborative way.
Seasonal farm work, and specifically housing for seasonal farm workers, is unique, and we want to make sure that even the people who come here seasonally have a decent, affordable place to live.
When I first got to DCDC, I worked on Detroit Works project and the civic engagement team, which is a massive citywide effort to create a visionary framework for the city, which I'm so thankful for because I got to know the city and community leaders much more intimately and much more quickly than I would have otherwise. Detroit today still faces a lot of challenges, but there's also a lot of great, smart people working towards enhancing and improving Detroit, and we've been able to contribute to that momentum and be part of the process.
Over the past year and a half, CEARA has been working with a group of stakeholders on the revitalization of the Livernois commercial corridor. It's now being re-energized to be kind of a hub for the community.
So one of the most exciting parts of the work has been getting to know the nuances of the different project partners and neighborhoods and people. Facilitating that conversation is really a privilege.
Bartlett Place is one of the largest developments happening in Roxbury. It's a mixed-use development of 323 units of housing and 54,000 square feet of commercial.
Well, Roxbury is a neighborhood at the heart of Boston, both geographically, and we believe it's the heart and soul of Boston. It's a neighborhood of about 50,000 people, mixed income, working class, proud of its history and culture, and it's a neighborhood in transition.
Bartlett Place being vacant for over 10 plus years and just being this big eyesore to the community, I wanted to do something in the interim to actually, bring awareness to development, to market it as this creative village, to get people to have a say in what the public space could look like.
Even though we're in different places, we sort of think in similar ways.
We get to know each other very well, and we use that knowledge as a way to bounce ideas off of each other and grow professionally.
One of the big things that I've taken out of meeting with the fellows is how they're engaging with their own communities and how they're building relationships.
And the opportunities to get together and meet and learn from young architects from across the country is unmatched.
That knowledge trust was there, and being able to have access to that was very critical, and be able to share that back to our local community.
The Rose Fellowship's about engaging with communities. That personal experience of talking directly with people.
We work with such a range of partners, and bringing all those voices together and facilitating that conversation, that's my passion, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better.
One of the ways that I can help communities envision their future is by bringing an image to what they're saying, but then also to be an honest listener.
3 years down the line, I think I'm a better designer, an even better designer that understands both financing and policy language in order to build better affordable buildings.
This growing community of design pioneers is demonstrating that designers have the capacity to help create a more healthy, equitable, and just world.
I knew early on, even before I knew I was going to be an architect, that I was going to be working with people and that I really wanted to focus on making communities better.